JKH again, you know what I'm saying, on behalf of Wealth Education. And shouts out to my guy Troy, because he advised me I should go ahead and do one based on, you know, the super voting, controlling shares. That's what I call them. But the term is basically super voting shares. I just call them super voting, controlling shares. That's where I first got a great idea about them a while back. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just go brief into this, because since I've been bringing you a lot of, you know, things based on equity evaluation, you know, Wealth Education, where equity start at, right? I'm gonna go ahead and break this down real simple and admit it, go into different layers about, you know, shares, you know, not in general, but, you know, privately. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, super vote shares. Okay, so what is super vote shares? Super vote shares give the founders more control. So what I mean by more control, what it mean is, just say, if you look at all these big tech companies and all these, you know, billionaires and so far and so on, what you'll discover is none of them really own 100% of their company. Even to the guy that was, you know, the richest guy in the world, which well, right now, Elon Musk. Okay, they may own between 10, 20, 30% of their company. Because at the beginning, they were selling out a portion of their company for 10% here, 15% there, 5 cents, whatever it may be. And as time went on, they was picking up a lot of capital to build these beautiful companies in the capitalist world, while they look like trillion dollar companies today, right? And the valuation, we know, it's multiplied off the revenue and different other margins and things of that nature, you know, market capitalization and things of that nature. Because most people talking about they are public trade companies, but they was actually private held at one time. You still got your billion dollar private held companies. So with that being said, I came across some data one time about Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook owner. Well, not owner, but, you know, just say founder, co-founder, you want to say it, because I don't like the word owner as much. And it was showing that he only had 14% stake in the company and still controlled it. At this time, he was the 5th richest man in the world. He was, I think his net worth like 72 billion. That's when the Facebook stock had went down a minute and it came back up. So he only had 13% or 14% of the company, but look at his network. And at this time, Facebook was a $500 billion valuation at this time. I don't know what it is now. It might be knocking at the $1 trillion. It might be past the $1 trillion mark, because, you know, well, Apple went that and the rest of them just followed suit, right? So that's what everything then expanded over $1 trillion market capitalization. So with that being said, it talks about by him as super voting control stock in the company, he still protected. They couldn't really just kick him off the board like the story people heard about the Steve Jobs and other people that people like to use, like, well, you know, you say your stock, you heard was, but they don't talk about how these guys had to come back and really get Apple, you know, back up to where it got at, right? So not too much of that, but that's just the side that people want to talk about. People don't talk about the side that they got super vote shares. Even the guy that had WeWork, he had super vote shares. So it's coming more of a trend in the tech industry, more the techs, because they understand they got to sell their company. They just can't go to banks like most people promote you to, you know, different platforms, go and borrow money. Start off, like I keep telling y'all, they sell like a small portion. They share off 10% here so far, and then next thing you know, they got, you know, millions of dollars, or they might be billionaires in 4-5 years. This what a lot of your billionaires is created from the finance tech sector, ventures, different things of that nature that's high demand businesses, right? So anyway, back to the subject. So that's basically what super vote shares is. So this is the method of it. The method is super vote shares have 10 votes to 1 and even up to 50. But I'm not gonna really use 50 because I never did no in-depth study on that part of it, right? I just know it from 10 to 1. And what that means is, if I'm coming to your company as a shareholder, investor, I might have 1 vote, right, to your 10. So I can't really go against you to a certain extent. So what that means is average shares with a vote, let's go over this again. Average shares with a voice only carry 1 vote. So this guy might have 1 vote, right? So meaning that you the founder, etc., that you got 10 votes over him. So what that's doing, that's giving this guy a lot of more votes. It's just like politics, but political parties and things. You see people vote. So in corporations, we all vote on what need to happen, what not need to happen, right? Politics, that's usually right from the yard, the medium, pens. I ain't been to the pen, but mediums and different things of that nature. Okay, super vote shares is mainly private held shares. So what that mean? That mean in the beginning, the founders as private held founders or private held capacity companies and early stage investors might have had options to get these super vote shares, right? That's what could have happened. So what is Class A, Class B shares? Well, Class A in this dimension could be preferred stock, like we were talking about. Class B could be common stocks, which was mostly traded in the public market. Now, also, in the other realm, Class A can have more votes, right? Class B may have less votes. So when we see Class A, Class B, it symbolizes something. It don't just mean all the time preferring common stock, because I understand that most public trade companies are C corporation. You may have something that some kind of way they figured out a way to issue another stock with just common stocks. I don't know how they did it. They used to do it like that, I believe, 20, 30 years ago, from different material I picked up on established companies that was public traded, and how I came across, I'm like, wow, this company needs to do that like that. Back then, they incorporated their own thing and then filed it with the Secretary of State versus Secretary of State sending you out all the files too. Okay, so with that being said, so two other things, okay, blocker shares. When you hear people talking about blocker shares, that's how the big boy trade behind the scene through, different, concepts. They moving 50,000 shares at a time. So when these big boys are moving, they're buying blocks of shares at a time. You know what I'm saying? They ain't buying mediocre shares. And they also got they frequency trade, their algorithm, you know what I'm saying? They got things that's trading it before the time. You must catch on to the average people know what's going on. So what they trade in most cases blocker share. And this the main thing since we're talking about it. Green mail shares. What is green mail shares? Green mail shares is actually a shares that you can have an option to have that implemented in your shares. So if your company was to go public and a corporate come in and they do a tender off and start buying up all your shares, because in most cases when they take over a company, they buying up all the shares, and it might take the managers and the founders a couple of days, couple of weeks before they realize that, damn, somebody buying up our shares, they got about 6-7%, and 10% makes this person almost biggest share on the company. So now he got a voice. So now by the time the company woke up to the corporate that's buying up all the shares with the green mail shares, they got to sell you the shares back for a premium. But if you don't got green mail share, your company trading public, this is how they buy you out. So now they come in and they buying up all your stock. So next they got 5, 6, 7%, 10%. Now they're able to come in and do what they want. Start, putting down they demo and things like that. It's hostile takeover still. It's just considered acquisition, because they still do tender offers and that thing. So that would green mail protect you. So the whole concept is, remember this, an average corporation can issue a minimum of 10 million shares just to start at, and it's the fraction of a penny, at 0.0001. Now, with that being said, that'll have a structure for you, like I told you before, that you could mark your share at any dollar amount, because there's really no direct laws that regulate and govern that sector of your face value that you saying that your company gonna be worth on paper, right? So with that being said, I was just breaking down the topic of what super vote shares is. So with that being said, I'm out again. Peace and love to everyone out there. Later.